So first of all, thank you for the invitation. This is a wonderful place, unique one. This is great to talk about technology and what we can do for all the ideas that are behind your heads, because probably there are many there. Um, why are we here and who are we? Maybe we'll start from that, Professor. I'm from the IoT area. Professor is from robotic, and there is a trend, and you can see it on the market. You can see it even in Ukraine. That IoT is not only Internet of Things, it's becoming more complex. The peripheral area, it's becoming requiring robotics, drones, which is a kind of robot, and this is where we meet and start talking about this subject. Professor, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Thank you. First, I want to say thank you to the organization for inviting me. I think that somebody take a mistake and invited me and stay because this and I am here. I am full professor of robotics. I am developing robot from maybe 30 years, a lot of years. I'm so old. I can retire it in 2 years, but we are here because everybody feel the definition of a robot. You see the movies, science fiction, but what is really a robot? A robot is a machine that is able to interact with the real world by be aware of the environment. And to be aware of the environment, we need sensing and we need IoT. Then the grow up of robotic application, IoT application, is, I think, because two things. The first one is that the hardware is cheaper now than 20 years ago. Now a robot is so it's so easy to buy. Only maybe 10,000 euros. And the other thing is that the robot now is outside of the industry. There are no other kind of application outside of the industry, but this application need sensing, need sensors in order that the robot take decision about the environment and make the tasks. And this is because we are here.
Actually, if you guys remember the .com revolution we had with the web space invaded with ideas and apps, but that bubble is full. It's very difficult for us to have an app that change the market or makes a lot of new segment and new approach. We need to go physical. We need to enter the world where we are and provide service. And we saw always robots as a product, not a service. But the service is where the money is, and we need to monetize it. So the only way to do this is to bring data and bring communication over it. There is where IoT becomes IOR, which is Internet of Robots. And you go a little bit up on the technology side, and you provide a service, not a product. This is happening in a very different industries, from healthcare to defense, but it's way it's a broader margin of growth in any service industry that you can find creativity and require of doing something that really interacts with human beings. So Professor was saying, and it's very true, one of the problems in the beginning of IoT and robotic was how costly was to produce something. And from going from prototype up to MVP and product, there was a huge hurdle. It took a lot of time, and only big companies like Bosch, Siemens would do something like that. No one like us with a good idea and some knowledge could develop anything that resembles what they did in the beginning of 2000. Now hardware is becoming a freeware. You can actually have people doing stuff, marvelous stuff, with an ESP32, which is a chip, very small, and it costs around about 5 euros, 10 euros. What we can do is on IoT, on Craft 4.0, we built a company that brings the possibility to create the product in different maturity levels, which brings different technological dimensions, such as hardware design, firmware, mobile or web, and bring it all together and produce and materialize the idea of someone which is an entrepreneur, which has the business, but do not have the support from a Siemens, a Bosch, or a VC company that brings millions to the table. So that was the idea that's why we created Craft 4.0, and it becomes so interesting because when we start talking, me and Professor, we actually understood that it's inevitable. If we aren't doing this, someone will do it. And the question was, would it be done in Europe or on Asia? Of course, the easy answer will be Asia. But we should aim and bet on Europe, because the creativity and the freedom that comes from Europe, and the social support that someone sees as a hurdle, the other sees as a safe ground for creation. This is the right place for having a good balance in lifestyle, plus the capacity of producing something that never was thought or never was attempted. Professor,
yes,
what do you think?
Jose is right, because we're speaking. It's true, to make a company based only in hardware product is so difficult. My experience when I work with companies is robotics is an integration of technologies. I only one time on my life, well, 2 times on my life, I built a robot from zero. It's a waste of time now. The thing is that for make business, you have to understand the application, you have to understand the customer, and you have to select the technology that you want to integrate. Maybe robotic arms, maybe drones, maybe mobile robots. You have to understand everything. You have to understand about sensors, you have to understand about communications, and you have to understand about artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence has a lot of different techniques. It's not neural networks, it's machine learning, it's Markov model, a lot of things. But you have to know a little thing of all this technology and stay with people that know in detail these technologies. But somebody have to, it's like orchestra director, have to direct everything in the team. For example, we make application for industry, for quality management. Well, I don't know a lot of thing about quality management, but if I work with people who know this, I can make the robot. Another robot we made to surgery. We made a robot that we patent the robot and sell to a company. This company used the robot in more of 200 patients, but made the surgery with a robot. But we made this because we provide with an advisor of technologies. Then we want to provide to the company a complete solution of robots. This is the idea to get money. To make a robot or design a robot from zero is a mistake, or because you can buy a robot in China, or Holland had very good robots. But the thing is that you are able to analyze the problem, select the technologies, and integrate them into one product for this particular application.
Yeah, and actually, that comes to mind. When we have customers coming to contact us to produce something, I usually tell them, let's keep it simple. Let's put the wish list aside and let's do what you really need to produce the MVP, the minimal viable product. Because IoT and robotics is per se much complex. So if we don't keep it simple and in a straight line, you will never get it. So this is the first expectation that we should have when we look at any idea. We need to define a path from A to B, where B you are doing money. And it needs to be the straight. It might be not the ideal, might not be the one that you wish for, but it needs to be with a minimal energy effort to achieve money, cash. Otherwise, you do not have a possibility to sit in front of Stefan and ask him for money. So that's the main thing that we try to educate somehow, the expectation of an entrepreneur that is always a visionary, that is always creative, that is always wanted to go to the moon, but he is only starting to jump. This is one of the main things. Of course, robotics is another level of complexity. You need a huge amount of data, and this huge amount of data brings to another new challenge in technology, which is how do you keep service, a continuous service, if you are offline? And you can see that again unfortunately, on Ukraine with drones, because they are using artificial intelligence, and when they are cut down with information, they know what is the target because they have the capability of processing the data in the peripheric product. So robotics will, to place a real stable service, will need to increase their capacity to about computation, and eventually artificial intelligence in many services will be needed. So this is something that is decentralizing what we would expect, that everything would be on the cloud, and we would have an entire network coming down to the peripherics. It's actually changing, and they are trying to provide capabilities on the peripheric side that they can continue to do their service without having a connection, and that's the trick.
And I want to say one thing more about this. When you have a lot of technology in your hand, it's so complex, the integration, you have to follow regulations. You want the mark CE mark. You have to follow a lot of regulation. You have to follow safety, software development, a lot of things, a lot of regulation. Then my experience is I am working with companies in Málaga Technopark. These companies, they are developing the model of Industry 4.0 or Industry 5.0, doesn't matter. The thing is that it's so difficult because they are not specialists in these topics. Then we are working with them, changing our teaching to be close to the company. Then now we are working in digital twins, because if you want to develop a big application with IoT, robotics, drones, arms, whatever, you need to put a lot of money in the table. Then maybe fail. Then we are working with this company that we are developing digital twins. You try everything in simulation, and when this works, you can build in reality, and you made the implantation of the robotic application. Then now this company, they are not specialists, for example, in digital twin or in robot programming. Then we are working with the company. It's easy to get the contact of a professor of the university and said, you can design a learning course, a training course for workers about this topic. It's so easy. Then the important thing of digital technology is that you need specialists in your teams, because now the hardware, the software is so complex. When I was so young, I programmed in machine code. I touched the hardware. For me, so easy to control everything. But now you have a lot of layers. You have Linux, maybe you have a robotic operating system. You have a lot of layers of software that makes so difficult to understand everything. Then, if you have a company and you are a specialist, my advice, because it's working with this company is Fujitsu, that I have a headquarters in Málaga. We are training people to develop new robotic applications. It's the way then, because the contact with the company for me as university is like a marriage. We have to be good together and develop a future together. Then starting with training courses with the students in order that the company hire students in the company is a nice way to start a relation with a company, because the thing is to create confidence. And the thing is, it's necessary of a specialist to develop this kind of application that is so complex, really so complex, because you need to know a lot of things in order to develop this.
Yeah, we feel also the getting resources, skilled resources that can help us doing some projects in different technologies are very hard to find, especially in Algarve, as you might understand. Full remote is actually a solution. We work with people in skirts upon Europe, which makes our life more easy to do some projects, some complex projects, but still the face-to-face, being in the same environment, we are still emotional animals. We need that, and sometimes that's difficult but it's the way that that's the only solution that we have, is to use consultants from Poland or from France. It doesn't matter. We just get them, but it's not ideal. But we can do it from Algarve because we have. We decided when we started this company that we needed to have capability to iterate, because you cannot develop anything without iteration. And being software, if you guys know software, you know that you have always to do and trial and do and trial and do. Hardware is the same way. So you need to have a production line to do that. We can do it by ourselves, but still, for instance, we are still dependent from Asia on almost 95% of the components. That's something that when we started the company in 2019, we were against the trend of industrialization of Europe. Then it came to COVID and everybody is talking about industrialized Europe. I do hope that happens. We are trying to do our part, but there's still a long way to go, and we need all of you to start thinking about that. And every time you can push for the right decision, yeah, hopefully you'll do it.
No, we have to use the creativity because, let's say, Jose, China, Asia, it's impossible to open a market with hardware. It's totally impossible. In Spain, it's a risky operation. In fact, I have to contact with company, with one of them, with sell, a license, a patent, but the project was for 3 years because no market for this robot. They prefer to buy a German robot, Chinese robot, no market, but the creativity to provide the services, to provide a solution to a company, it's like to make a home. I don't know to put bricks I don't know to make the roof, but I can organize everything. Then this is the idea to organize everything that say to the customer, don't worry, this big facility will be run, no problem, and collect of the components, develop of the programs, make the validation test, everything in order that this run. In fact, the relationship between the companies and the university is changing because in the past, when a company want a machine, somebody make the scheme of the machine, electric schemes, mechanical scheme, and so on. Now you develop the digital twin with the company, and the company said, "This is the thing that I want." Then it's perfect. A digital twin, you have everything, mechanical parts model, programming model, everything. Then only you have to build this. Only it's so hard, but you know that you are in the right path. In the past, with the scheme doesn't work. Then now we have the possibility to have a strong collaboration between companies and the university in order to outsourcing the innovation process, some parts of developing some part of the application.
Yeah, in our past experience with academic grounds, it was only with Portugal. It's challenging in terms of payment because it takes a long time. It's a lot of bureaucracy. The guys from academic they have to struggle a lot to get an approval. And it's painfully slow to take a decision. But on the other side, you get the creativity. Absolutely creativity things, and we are techie guys, we like to do stuff that never been done, so it's kind of always a balance and try to make it happen. We also have experience. These type of events are very important. For instance, the session that we had before, it's about agriculture. We develop entire systems for an Israeli company for agriculture purpose. We would never guess that you guys need that, but we already done it. But again, it's all about connecting with people and try to figure out if there is a common ground. I do believe that the next thing will be getting to the physical world, go a little bit outside the digital world and try to provide services there. Let's see if we in Europe can bring our creativity and free thoughts and make services in this world, hopefully, and be competitive as much as possible.
Okay, so well, I know the relation between company and university it's not hard. Sometimes difficult. As he said, we are public institution, then our regulation for the money management is so hard. But there are a lot of European calls in order to make innovation with university and companies. It's interesting to use. Of course, the times in the company and the university are totally different. In fact, the way of thinking, because I think to write scientific papers, Jose is thinking to get money. Then
yeah,
sometimes it's so difficult to match, but it's possible because I have experienced that say this is so fancy solution, but the company saying, but I don't get money about this. No, you have because well, you live in academic work, and you always develop so complex solutions because you want to write a scientific paper, in order to grow up in your career. This is our way of working. But the company, for our point of view, want so simple solution, but works this solution with any fails. And well, and these two levels are these two different point of view, you have to match together. This is true.
Yeah, because usually technology is not a problem. It's human beings getting to an agreement point. So if we can do it, it will be done, I'm sure. So I think we are finished.
Yes.
Hopefully we didn't took too much time of your time, and you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you. That was
Thank you.